I thought that I would share a story with you all that I know you're going to get a kick out of. I'll tell you what, old people and technology is like trying to mix oil and water. Let me give you a little background here on how this old lady got acquainted with technology. See, when I was a kid, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have beepers. I mean, you had a phone in your house that had a rotary dial on it. It didn't have no push buttons, and you was on a party line where you had to pick up the receiver off of the cradle and put it to your ear and see if somebody else was talking on the phone. And if they was, then you hang your phone back up and wait a little bit and go back and check again. And if the line's clear, then you could make your call. We didn't have video games and computers and any of that stuff. We had, when I finally got into high school, they introduced the handheld calculators. But we didn't have computers and stuff like that. When I was a senior in high school, I went to the vocational school and took a course called Cooperative Office Education. And it was about business machines that you would use in an office. They didn't have computers per se. I mean, that was back when they first started coming out with the mag card punch machines for data processing. And we fooled with that a little bit. And then you had your 10 key adding machine. You had your typewriters, both manual and electric. And that's right, young people. Typewriters wasn't always electric typewriters, if you even know what a typewriter is. The old Underwood typewriters that you had the carriage on, that you had to return by hand. You type on the keys, you push the carriage back across to start another line. They had a newfangled thing back then that had just come out, which was called the mag card typewriter, where you would type on this electric typewriter and it would put everything that you was typing on a magnetic card, and that card could be put into another machine to be read, whatever you had typed on that card. And with the electric typewriters, they just started coming out with the new thing that was where you could backspace over something to do a corrective type on whatever it was. If you made a typing error, you'd backspace over it and it would automatically put in the well, it was kind of like liquid paper, but it was in powder form that was already on the ribbon. And that would type over your error, and then you could type your corrected letter in the place of the one that you was correcting. None of the computer type stuff was available back in that day. So I was not brought up with any of this newfangled stuff. And I was 40 years old before I got introduced to computers. Well, maybe a couple years before that. And I only say that because my husband was into computers. He did computer programming. And so he knew about computers. And I never felt like I needed to, because he knew whatever there was to know. Well, I was working on the farm, and I had all kinds of things going there that I wanted to keep track of. And through courses of conversations that I'd overheard him having with other people, I knew that I could possibly have some kind of a thing on a computer where I could keep track of things that was going on, keep my records a little bit better. So I asked him to set me up a computer with a program on it where I could keep all this stuff typed in a file. And I said, now look, I don't want to do any programming. I don't want to fool with whatever stuff you got to put in it to do it. I just want you to tell me, if you push this button, the program you need is going to pop right up there, and you just type what you need to type, and this is how you close it down. And so he did that for me. And and that's how I learned to use a computer. Well, he passed away. And there I sat not knowing sickum about what in the hell I was doing. And a friend of mine had a husband that did the same thing that my husband did on his job with computer programming. So I asked him to come over and help me get my computer straightened out. Well, my computer was a homebrew. My husband had built it. So the stuff that if you went to the store to buy a program for your computer, it said on the box that it was plug and play. Sounds simple, right? You just bring it home, you put it in your computer, you plug it in, and it plays. Well, I soon found out that that wasn't necessarily true, especially on a homebrew computer, that it didn't work that way. That you would plug it in and then you'd pray that it worked. It was called plug and pray. And most of the time it didn't work, and it needed a bunch of configuration and stuff. So I'd call my friend, she'd send her husband over, and he'd fool around with it. And sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't work to do what I wanted it to do. Well, that was my introduction into computers. And I soon learned that, okay, you're going to have to just go and buy you a store-bought computer, and so that, you know, the software and stuff that you want to do will work on it. And I had a hell of a time, and I made a friend in my amateur radio community that specialized in knowing what to do with computers. And so I'd tell him, look, this is the issue that I'm having. This is what I want it to do. Can you fix it? And he'd come over to the house, and he might have to spend a few hours, but he'd get it going the way I wanted it to go. Well, unfortunately, several years ago, he passed away. And since then, I have been flying by the seat of my pants with technology. Good golly almighty. I mean, I'm lucky enough to have a computer where it's through a company that has tech service, and I can call them up and they will work me through, you know, whatever issue that it's got, and help me get it going. But I am I'm the biggest loser when it comes to knowing how to do anything technical you ever seen in your life. And I got the bright idea that it's time, finally. I've had people begging me and asking me and saying, you need to get your craft channel up and running, get your Etsy store going. You need to do something with your crafts, because I just love doing crafts, and good golly, my house looks like a craft store has done blowed up in it since I've been retired. So I need to get some of this stuff marketed. And I thought, well, okay, I cannot take a picture for anything. Good golly, it's the awfulest mess you ever seen in your life, me trying to take a picture. And I thought, you are only as good as the equipment you surround yourself with, right? So you might as well get the equipment, top of the line stuff that you can do videos with to show how you make this stuff, that you can take pictures of your products to put on your Etsy channel, that you can do this thing. And so I've been watching some people online that's got these GoPro Hero cameras, Hero 5 is their newest model, and they seem to do real good videos with those things. I thought, well, I'll get me one of them. So I ordered one, and it came in the mail yesterday. Now, to start off with, I about couldn't get it out of the package it was in. I finally got it out of the package. They had it sealed up like you would not believe in that package, and I finally figured out how to get the doggone package open. I get the camera out, and then I thought, okay, now I've got to figure out how to get the battery in it so I can charge it up. That'd be your first step. And I had the little book out there, and it's showing me that you need to open this little door up to put the battery in. And I'll be dogged, I could not find the door to open. I turned that thing upside down, round and round. I pushed every button on it. I could not find nothing, no way to open any door to get the battery out. And I got to looking at it, and I thought, well, this camera doesn't even look like the one in the picture. Did they send me the right camera? And I'm looking at it, and and I can't figure it out. And I got online, and I'm looking online to see, okay, maybe there's something, tell me something different here online. So I pull it up, and no, it's the same kind of pictures and everything, but it don't look like my camera. And so I get in touch with a friend of mine. I'm not going to mention her name here. She'll probably be listening to this, and she'll probably laugh her head off. But I get a hold of a friend of mine, and I said, listen, I don't know what's going on here, but my camera don't look like the one that, or I don't understand this. And so she's trying to figure out what in the world's going on. She's sending me pictures of other cameras saying, well, does it look like this? No, it don't look like that. Does it look like this? No, it don't look like that. Finally, I said, look, let me take a picture of it with the camera on my cell phone and shoot it over to you, and let's see if you can figure out what the hell I'm dealing with here. So I take a picture of it, I get it loaded up, and I send her the picture, and she says, it's in a protective sleeve. You got to get it out of the protective sleeve that it's in. And I said, well, how on earth do I do that? Well, she finds this video on YouTube of how to get it out of the protective sleeve thing that it's in. And I get it out of that. Well, I find the door where I can put the battery in and the little chip thing that goes in with it and all that. And then I thought, okay, now we've mastered that. By this time, I broke a sweat. My hair standing on end. I looked like somebody had turned me inside out and pulled me through a knot hole. And I thought, okay, what's the next step? What do I have to do next? Well, it tells me that I need to get online and I need to download some software for it. So I'm trying to download this software, and it's telling me, no, you can't do that. No, no, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. So I find out, I contact my friend again. I said, what's up with this? So she takes a look at it. She said, well, you can't download that because you're not putting it on a phone. That's apps for your phone. I said, well, I don't have a phone that takes apps and stuff like that, but I need this software to operate this thing. She says, well, now go to this site and download this program because this is set up for your computer so that you can run it off your computer. I said, good, that's what I need. So I try to download that that program, and it's giving me problems. It's giving me fits. It don't want to download. I mean, I spent like 6 hours just trying to download that one blasted program, and my nerves are shot. I thought, good golly, I have got into the office mess you've ever seen in your life. Well, I finally get the program downloaded. Now, it's supposed to be pretty simple to update this thing, right? You plug the thing into your computer with the little cord, and you plug the other end into the camera, and you turn the camera on, and it's supposed to do automatic updates. Oh, the hell you say. It ain't going to download nothing. It's saying 0% download, 0. But yeah, if I unplugged everything, I pulled it all back up, and then I plugged it back in again, it would tell me that it needed updates. So I'd start again, and it would say 0, 0, 0. So I finally gave up. At 5 a.m. in the morning, I gave up. I went to bed. I got a few hours sleep, and I woke up thinking about it again. And I thought, it's a new day. You got a little sleep. You need to attack this again, see if you can't get this thing set up right. So I come back. It's still sitting at 0. I let it sit all night running, thinking maybe by some miraculous fairy would come in and wave a magic wand over it or something, and it would automatically do the doggone update. But no such luck. So I just unplugged the camera from the computer, turn the camera off, just let it sit for a little while. And I go on about my business for a few minutes, and I come back in, and I think, okay, we're going to start again. So I start again. This time, it would upload to 66% of this program, and then it would tell me, no, you can't, no, it ain't going to work, no. So I tried it again, and we're back to this 0 thing again. I thought, okay, all right, I've had enough. I'm calling their tech support, because surely to God, somebody there knows how to get this thing to download this update on it so I can use this camera. So I get a hold of a Hapu at the at the Foreign Service Center thing, and me and him go around and around, and he says, okay, you're going to have to do a manual download of this thing, and then I'll show you how to get it into your camera. All right. So he gets me to this manual download thing. Well, of course, it don't want to download. it's giving me fits. But one thing that it is telling me is that I need this program called Winzip in order to open this program once it does download into my computer. And I'm telling him, I'm saying, look, Hapu, it's like this, baby. This thing ain't going to work because I ain't got that Winzip program thing that it's telling me that I need on this computer. I'm going to need that thing, ain't I? And he's saying, well, yeah, you're going to have Winzip if you're going to open this file, as that's the only thing that'll open it. And I said, well, then what are we trying to download this thing for? He says, look, here's what we're going to do. Here's the phone number. He says, you get the WinZip thing on your computer, you get this file downloaded, then you call me back and we'll see what we can do. Well, I went through hell on earth trying to get WinZip loaded. I finally got it loaded on the computer, and it's telling me then, and after I'd paid for the program, now I'm here to tell you I paid for the program, and it's telling me that I don't have a paid program, that it is a trial program. But I thought, well, what the hell difference is that going to make as long as it'll work with this program? As long as I can get this program today, I don't really care at this point, you know. It is a matter of principle, and I will be fighting with them later on about it, since, you know, I have paid for it and they're not going to tell me that it's a trial program. But for today, I thought, as long as I can just get this thing updated to the camera. So, okay, you got the WinZip, even if it's temporary, you got it. You go back and you try to get the other program to load the updates. So I get them uploaded. Then I'm trying to get them over into the WinZip so that I can put them onto the SanDisk card or ScanDisk card, wherever you want to call that thing, that goes into the camera to get the updates in the camera. But the files will not go into the WinZip. It was another one, this does not compute thing, an IO error of some sort, whatever the hell that is. And I get my friend back again, and I tell her, look, here's what it's saying. What do I have to do? What magic words do I have to say? What hoops do I have to jump through to get this thing into the WinZip so that I can get it onto the card? She says, look, why don't you just go back to that program and try again? Just use a different port on your computer to put that SanDisk chip into, and maybe that's all it needs. Maybe it's just a bad port. So I tried again, and it's the same thing. Gets up to 66%, and it's, you know, it's not going to work. And she's, well, if you tried a different plug-in for it, it's telling me that your disk thing is not right. She says you need a different disk. And she said, what did they give you? I told her what they gave me, and I said, well, even Hapu said it probably wasn't the right disk. It probably needed something else, but he didn't tell me what it needs. So she looked up online and she found out what it needed. So instead of the Ultra, I need the Extreme, of course, you know. Everything in my life is extreme. So I've ordered the Extreme disc, and now I've got to wait for that to come in and see if I can get the updates to load so that I can go on and start learning how to use my camera. Something that should have been so simple. Something that people who knew what the hell they was doing could have probably done in about 5 minutes. And I have been at it now for a day and a half. And haven't gotten anything accomplished except being aggravated all to hell and back. So I thought that I would just share that little story with y'all. And I know this has been a little longer than most of my story times, but it has been very entertaining, I'm sure, for you people that are not technically challenged. But I'll tell you what, I can still dial a rotary phone better than anybody.